Mr. Das, I want to ask you from your experience with Tyson Foods, what is it you're seeing? You're in the non-veg space, and there's a feeling that, and really defragment or demystify this non-veg Indian. Are we all vegetarians who are turning Indian, or, vegetarians who are turning non-veg, or is there a hardcore, I'm a Keralite, so you don't have to ask me, but what's the non-vegetarian penetration in this country?
See, as you see over last 1 decade, as we see, there's definite there is a shift of is happening towards non-vegetarians. But there are different classification here. There's vegetarians also. Vegetarians and non-vegetarians are not that's also the things. And also you have to see that non-vegetarians also vegetarians. Like today is Monday, I don't eat, and tomorrow is Tuesday, some part is not done, and so Thursday, then Friday and Saturday. That's what, so it's, the relevance is that what is the frequency of non-veg eating per family or per person, and what are the portion size of non-veg that they eat per time. So that defines the consumption pattern and everything. So that defines the things. I think of all that. You want me to continue?
Yeah, please. Yeah. Just tell us. It's a mystery to me how a non-veg brand can be propagated in this country.
Yeah, I tell you that it's slightly. I'll go beyond that. It's a pretty difficult thing. Is that non-vegetarian? There's frozen, fresh chilled, so everything is temperature controlled, and you can go and buy anything. But how many of the people who go and stand and get a poultry, they buy a poultry meat and are standing there, the bird get killed. Only you can see the blood and everything. That's also there. The shelf life itself is a challenge. The fresh chill will have 1 or 2-3 days. Frozen will have 9 months. Those kind of things. But let us look at the bigger challenges. I'll come back to that. Let us look at certain statistics or databases. If you look at suppose you say that GDP is going to grow on 6 to 7% for next so many years. The consumption expenditure will be around 4 trillion by 2025. Just park that thing. If the consumption year on year, the growth happens 12%, the world is growing at 5%. In India, it's 12%. If you look at the incomes groups, the 5 groups, the beautiful thing, that's a very good information, that is that the elite and the affluent, they're going to move from 8 to 16%. And their consumption is going to grow from 27 to 40%. And now coming to that, how is going to change? And we look at strugglers where they're around 31% is going to go to 18%. That means they're moving into aspirants. Okay? And their consumptions are going to go from 11 to 6% only. So there also, the change is happening between the income and the expenditure pattern. And if you see that, now the nuclear family is moving from 68% to 74%. And nuclear family spends 20 to 30% more than the joint families. So these are the statistics which you see, and then you look at the purchase driver, the penetration. We are talking about the penetration of internet or penetration of platforms that you're going to use. That next 10 years is going to be more towards the rural side. And look at the power situation. I'm coming to why power situation is the frozen. The way the power situation is improving, and the way the Honorable Prime Minister has taken this up, power has to be there in every villages, road connectivity. If you look at the cold chain situation 10 years before, I have been in cold chain industry for the last 30 years. And today, we used to do 4 days from Mumbai to Delhi. Today, we do in 32 hours. We used to do 7 days to Calcutta from Mumbai. We used to do now 3.5 days. And if you see the cold store, the way it is opened out, so all other consumption centers, now the focus through the ministry has put the focus through various programs that is service at the production centers. The cold chain is also connected pretty well. If you think 10 years before that, you have to send frozen stocks from Mumbai to Guwahati, or the cold store is not available, the temperature is not there, the temperature integrity will not be maintained. But today, they are all there. If you look at that kind of infrastructures coming up, and this is the kind of income group changing, the income groups are changing, their expenditure patterns are changing, nuclear family percentage changing, and the urban population is going up, and the women getting their rightful place in the society. And the next thing is that the food plate is changing. It is in the breakfast is changing of poha, uttapam, upma to more of the cereals. If you go into today in urban side, you go to lunch side, you got a chapati, dal and rice, to salads, soups, pasta, noodles, it's changing. Dinner, if you see, similarly it is changing out. You snacking, then coming to where we operate, snacking. 10 years before, there were only 4 or 5 occasions in the day you're going to eat. Morning, then breakfast, lunch, snacking and dinner. Today there are 10 occasions that you eat. And the fastest growing is the evening snack. And the next is the breakfast. Okay. So coming to the point that we are talking about how the kitchen is going to impact it. This is the plate is changing. So the kitchen is changing. The next thing is how it is going to driven as the frozen is that previously the freezer, the frozen space is to be only small. There's to be meant for only making ice. Keep the ice cubes. So the summertime I can make a beverage, cold beverage there.
So I want to ask you, Mr. Das, whose responsibility is it to change a category? Is it the retailer's responsibility to change the way the consumer is having non-veg, or is it the manufacturer's responsibility to change the way non-veg is being eaten by the consumer?
I'll come to that. So the biggest driver is the convenience and availability. Convenience is going to be driven by the innovations. Availability is challenging in this place where we have come in the 5 years, we start putting the last mile connect. We start investing in the market, the freezers and chillers to make it available. These two have driven our business over the last 5 years, we're going to drive further. So that is going to be the key things. And when it's available, the eating behavior is changing and also preference. If you see the non-veg is moving, the vegetarians becoming non-vegetarians. Non-vegetarians start eating more frequently non-vegetarians and the portion size is increasing. So that's going to driving the entire growth, consumption and the northern size.
Yeah.
So besides that, what you were talking about during the discussion, just like informal discussion, when I buy, what is the purchase frequency? The penetration and purchase frequency also drives the consumption and the growth in the market. If I today buy a pack of 400 grams frozen snacks, or suppose Yummy's nuggets, can I store it in home? No. How many times am I going to use it? 3 or 4 times. Do I have space in the freezer? No. But the freezers have become bigger. The freezer's temperature has moved from -4 to -20 to -22. The size now you can say flexible. I can change the freezer size depending on chiller and freezer, whichever I want. With that kind of innovations going in the home refrigerator, and the last mile connect that is happening, which is challenging with every industry has to spend. Then with the infrastructure developing in the road and power and the cold storage site, and the innovations, and with this demographic change and the nuclear family changing and everything, I think there is a good opportunity, and also it is going to penetrate towards things. I'm going to go to a simple example. You will be surprised to know the throughput of an outlet and the Guwahati street is quite closer to the throughput of Mumbai street. You see the income level. So what is happening is availability is making a drive, because there is this called a micro market.
I think the availability will change the behavior of the consumer. I think that's absolutely right.
So the other thing is I want to tell you that here, we get very overawed, like over a time we come that, okay, these are metro town markets, the income group is large and this is, that is old story. What I see is that when we started 5 years before I took charge of this business, what I see is that there are micro markets. Inside Mumbai also there are markets which doesn't need so much, doesn't give a throughput. There is market which gives the throughput. So the micro markets inside a major city, the mega city. There are also micro markets in a city as a market. So the business has to see through these micro markets and say like, okay, if I can develop a cluster of a refrigeration system, that market will be the best. So we did that in Northeast.
Yeah, that's true. That's
so
absolutely
that's the
right.
kind of changing.
So Oliver, if I could ask you, Fun Foods. I think it's not a new brand in this country. We've actually seen it for a long time. Explain to us where it has been in the last 3 years and what's doing today.
So over the last 3 years, in let's say mainly in mayonnaise, in spreads, in dressings, in peanut butter, we have doubled sales every year. So there was a tremendous growth. I don't really agree with the logic on non-veg, because we see the major growth driver is vegetarian mayonnaise. the non-vegetarian mayonnaise with egg is not such a strong growth driver. And I think probably Yogesh will agree with me because he's also in the same business. Yeah, so the focus that it is without egg and that it is vegetarian is a key growth driver for that segment. Since consumers see our advertising and they see it's veg, this is where the major growth comes from. Of course, not only this, but it's one contributor because we see a lot of consumers who know mayonnaise, but yet never pick it up because they think it includes egg. But overall, the growth for us has been tremendous.
Are you seeing Indians use mayonnaise like butter? Do they spread it on toast and
well, they
mayonnaise?
do. Yes, they do spread it on toast. Yeah, so it's about the Western food, the comfort food. It's about spreading it on bread. It's about spreading it even on pizza. It's about spreading it on a wrap, on salad. So there's a huge consumption. It has to do also with faster food. People prefer not hours of cooking of dal makhani, but more fast assembly. A burger you can make faster, a sandwich you can eat faster.
Are you excited with the way India is going? Are you excited with the market you're seeing?
Yeah, of course.
And internet? On e-commerce?
E-commerce, we don't have our own e-commerce platform, but we are listed on with the major e-commerce platforms. So we're doing sales, and we also see it's going up. But we actually profit from the other side of the internet. The consumers go on the internet for searches, whether it's Google, for recipe searches, for awareness. Internet drives awareness. Internet drives connectivity. You look at what bloggers do, you trust the bloggers. Bloggers talk a lot about, why would a blogger talk about dal makhani or about tadka dal? That's pretty boring. So you talk about new food, and we are at the heart of it. So that's where we're profiting.
So, Aditya, you're the distributor for Patanjali Modern Trade. You have two problems, Patanjali on one side and Modern Trade on the other, right? So, therefore, explain to us how you sleep at night.
So obviously, as a distributor, our main job and main objective is to balance, the mission of Patanjali with the requirements of modern trade as a trade. So obviously, as everyone knows, on the consumer demand side, there is no challenge. There is a certain philosophy of Patanjali within which I've been given the mandate to operate in. So there are certain guidelines that are so unique to Patanjali that may not be applicable to most of the other brands that are in modern trade.
So your terms of trade says take it or leave it. That's good. I have the terms of trade. So.
No, I think it's definitely a partnership. But I just want to give you a couple of examples that Patanjali is the first and the only brand in FMCG history in India to be sold on MRP in modern trade. And I think I have to thank all the modern trade partners for accepting that request. Because as you all know, that modern trade is a value-driven format, and all modern retail chains are at least a certain percentage of MRP. So I think that's one innovation that we've been able to do with in modern trade. The other thing is that because Patanjali's assortment is so large, we've always believed that as a brand we are able to convert Patanjali loyalists from one category into buying Patanjali products into another category, and therefore to sell the entire range from staples, food and non-food under one destination in modern trade is with that kind of large amount of SKUs is also something that I feel has, where modern trade retailers have gone out of their way to support us.
You have the world's best marketing Babaji, so
yes.
he's just outstanding, and
Sure.
I think people love him, and with good reason. I think so. If you want to make a brand famous, first you must become famous and then launch your brand. So I think that may be the way to go. But I must say it's creditable. Sure. An Indian brand which is challenging the FMCG companies. But are you facing obsolescence in some brands which are not working, therefore you're phasing it out, or just about including wrinkle-free cream is working well.
So obviously that decision isn't with us. That's the decision that the brand takes, and there currently there we believe that it is possible to fundamentally it is possible to be a leader in every category. So historic FMCG knowledge will tell you that it's very difficult to be you rather be a leader in one or two categories rather than at the sort of marginal ends of some of the at all categories. But I think at Patanjali, and obviously we've had to imbibe that in our company as well if we are going to represent them.
I tell you, you have a tough job on your hands, right?
So just to finish, we fundamentally believe that it's possible to be a leader in every category. As so far that's what we believe in, and we hope, and we have made inroads into our market share in modern trade across a lot of multiple categories is rising rapidly, and we hope to continue that over the years.
I think in about another 3 years of distribution, you will be ready to stand for election. So you will have enough tenacity to know what to do in a different circumstance, right?